such an asshole.
We got an interesting question, and unfortunately, I think it's going to be a pretty simple answer. I thought like, oh, there'd be something more deep, which it isn't. But a guy did pay me to read something somewhat related to this request. I had to read an Economist article, which I did. It was a good article, by the way, so thank you for recommending that. But this one's kind of a shorter, much more to the point question. How do you think virtual reality or augmented reality will impact social interaction in the future? Will it complement the current system? Will the gender nut jobs move to the digital realm and finally leave the real world alone? Will low value or ugly men be able to fill the big bittied tattooed girl financial gap by being a virtual hoe? And will the low value or ugly men be able to fill the being a virtual? Well, men will never get paid for their sexuality. Never. That won't happen. Unless you're like really attractive, like, Sterling Cooper, obviously. But do I think virtual reality, augmented reality will impact social? We're here. The future is now. The real debate is, how much bandwidth or how many bit graphics would you like? Because it's already here. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. I mean, if you want to where I think it's going, I'm being deadly serious. I think this is where it's going to go, minus the actual robots. We are going to live in a world very much like the movie Surrogate. And if you haven't seen that, it's a good Bruce Willis movie, but people don't go outside anymore because it's too dangerous. You catch disease, you might get hit by a truck, The only people that really go out voluntarily, the only people that really go outside are like cops who got to go arrest people or something like that. Everyone else interacts with very realistic robots, and they're always in the thing. And then Bruce Willis, his surrogate robot gets knocked out or disrepaired. So he actually goes out into the real world for a bit. He can't look at the sun. He's all dizzy because of all the movement around and all like that. Everything's delivered. How is that not what we got now? I mean, I remember maybe in the heydays of Meetup where you could go out and there'd be a good group of people to, in my particular case, go running with. So I belong to a really great running meetup group. But slowly over time, even though this group had thousands, literally thousands of members, I remember one time we had almost 50 people show up for a run. You had to separate them and have them release in groups. But soon enough, it was down to like 5 or 6. People weren't showing up regularly. And now Meetup's kind of a joke. I try to have my own Meetup group, and I did in the Twin Cities, like the self-employed, work from home club. And man, everyone had the same problem. Like, I'm depressed, I'm not getting out. And it was kind of a good, helpful Meetup, but then I had to kind of quit it because I was moving. But we're already there. It's just an issue of how fancy of graphics do you want? Will it complement the current system? It is the current system. I mean, my question is, what will be left of the old system? Like, there's an actual, okay, I'll give you another perfect example of how analog world or meetup space or real world is dying. The restaurants are all dying. Now, a lot of this supply chain and lazy generation is being brought up with a degree in sociology, and real work is beneath them. But going out to dinner, that's not it. You don't date in person. Ladies, I mean, how many of you are in the chat room? How many guys take you to dinner? When's the last time a guy took you to dinner and a movie? Heck, you don't go to movies, you stay at home and Netflix and chill. I wish we had some more women in the audience because we could kind of poll them, but when's the last time you were asked out in person? When did a guy hit on you or talk to you in person? When's the last time you went to a nightclub or a bar? Well, the number one thing that keeps the human race going, which is procreation, sex, that's all moved online. And it's incredibly easy now to where nearly most social interaction has moved online. And as the generations go on by, you're going to have younger people who were brought up on the internet. And the day is coming, there will never be physical office buildings again. Oh, maybe for some key things or stuff like that. And certainly factories, you have to build an actual thing. But there will not be. They're going to look back at our generation's generation. Can you believe those idiots? They went into tall buildings and suffered commutes. Can you believe that? The baby boomers are so tyrannical and stupid. They force people to ruin their lives doing this. And they'll be, and I'm, for one thing, I'm happy about that. There ain't no reason to commute. That's a horrible, cancerous, toxic thing to do to people. But interacting with humans, the human race, human enjoyment, human socializing, that is all online, all of it. So I don't think it is the current system. And if you want, Thinking Ape had a great video out about how this is generally going to be a good thing in a way. I personally am obviously of the type who likes to go out and meet up. And that's what I was going to make the point about meetup groups. You don't go to meetup groups anymore. They suck. They're bad. They're horrible. It's really lame stuff. But what's his name? Thinking Ape. And watch his videos, man. They're really good. He scripts them very well, very well thought out. But he made the point that generally this is going to be a good thing because getting men a substitute to deal with their sexual appetite, namely prawn, that has resulted in a decrease forcible bedtime fun, lower crime, although people also attributed abortions to that. This made people stay in. They not going to get not as much crime, not as much injury, not as much social ailments will occur. And girls will also get their counterpart to that, and that is an attention fix through social media, where they get the attention, but they don't actually have to physically go out with anybody unless it's a really good-looking guy. The problem there, of course, is that women will. I mean, the harems are going to be the future. That's just how it is. Where the only guys they're actually going to meet are going to be top 10% guys, which is another consequence of the digital virtual reality or augmented reality, where they're like, oh, I can get him. It's no different than shopping at Amazon beforehand. Well, I can only get what's at the local mercantile store. Boy, I hope Bob at the mercantile store in 1906 got what we need. Now you can shop for anything in the world through Amazon. Girls, the same thing with guys. So, but we've talked about that ad nauseum. But they'll get their attention itch scratched on the internet, and then their sexual itch, but it's going to be for a dwindling percentage of guys. And those guys are never going to get married. And I actually think you're going to have declining birth rates, already have it, declining marriage rates, already having it. You're also going to have increased suicide and self-deletion rates and depression rates because humans weren't made to live this way. So yeah, it's the future is now. I took a couple notes. Let me see what else. So less crime, less interaction, less marriage, less love. There'll be less divorce. The whole thing. Got that, huh? For the polarization of male dating suitors. So, I mean, top tier men are going to be super high demand. And especially younger generations, because they're not used to social interactions, physical social interactions. An increasing amount of social interactions, social actions that were maybe regrettable, but certainly not illegal, those will certainly be more stigmatized, if not outright criminalized. For example, a playground fight, regrettable, natural course of human, but it taught people to be tougher, established hierarchy. That is going to be no time. Like, you could almost go to juvie for that. Smoking in the boys' room, the song. Okay, smoking in the boys' room. What would happen is the vice principal would come in there, yell at you kids, maybe send you home. You wouldn't do it again. Or maybe you have to clean it so it didn't smell like smoke anymore. Oh my God. Oh, if you smoke cigarettes, they prefer you have crack cocaine before you have cigarettes in there. And certainly interaction between the sexes. All right. You take a 40-year-old woman and you ask her out in public, she might be shocked because it's a rare occurrence, but she might be flattered. Whereas if you ask out a 20-year-old girl, she's going to be freaked out because that's not been part of that younger generation's culture. And guys are, I would argue, somewhat right, where it's like, you got to be someone, because you're definitely, it's not going to be criminalized unless they don't like you, but they're definitely going to be thrown off, and they would rightly be nervous. So, it's one thing, I'm trying to think of guys. Like, man, it's been over a decade since I've seen a barroom fight. God, maybe 20 years. But yeah, asking a girl out in public, that's just not going to happen. And only unless you're like a dedicated artist like Troy Francis, or you're like, nope, I'm going to ask girls out in public, which is about the only way you can really do it now to avoid going online. I think it would be so unnatural to people who, for them, natural is going on the internet and meeting through Instagram or Facebook. That you could, definitely be seen as a creep asking a girl out in the future. Maybe not necessarily today. Yes, I know it depends on how you look too. But an increasing amount of behavior, in-person behavior, that was considered well, you didn't even need the internet for this one. It was okay at one time to ask out Susie in accounting. A lot of people met their husband or wife that way. Now you can't do that. So yeah, it's I just I see the real world meat space becoming, what would I say? Not illegal or even frowned upon, but eschewed, avoided. And that's just gonna tank birthing rates. I also think I didn't, but I will add this. I think IVF, surrogate, non-sexual reproduction. I think sperm banks are going to become huge. I absolutely think that is going to be definitely the way of the future. And there's going to be, now I don't know if they're going to perfect it and IVF and all that, but that is definitely going to be the future. Because, like, my God, if you can't, if you're unnerved, a guy asks you out at the grocery store, what's it like actually having physical sex? And we saw this with Demolition Man. Would you like to have sex? Sly's like, yeah. She puts the contraption on his head. Oh, Demolition Man predicted everything. I bet that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And you could say we have it now with digital sex or internet sex or whatever, Zoom sex. Which is cool, but it ain't the same. Yeah, then he says, like, what is this? Like, well, how are you planning on having sex? I don't know, the old-fashioned way, human physical contact. Oh, I mean, we're almost there. Like, yeah, I think I will see it in my lifetime, where the younger generations will just be repulsed by the idea of physical sex, unless, of course, you're the top 10, blah blah blah. But generally, for us mere mortals, yeah. In terms of politics, gender nut jobs moved to they're already there. I don't know if you've ever visited Twitter. They're already there and leave the real world alone. They kind of do, but when it comes to elections, they don't. And then when they want to burn down buildings, they don't. And then if you're in Portland or Seattle, Tacoma, and you're a worthless white person who like has nothing but a tent, and then you're going to go fight the system, man. Yay. And then you go, I don't know, do whatever people do in Portland. So that there they come out in the real world, but most of it will be digital. That's where people will be armchair activists. Will low value or ugly men be able to fill the big biddied tattoo girl financial gap by being virtual? Well, they already didn't. I mean, everything you said has kind of come true in at least one instance. Didn't there? If you mean ugly men could program an avatar to look like a girl and then go on fans only, I think that already happened because somebody programmed a digital girl to go and get super chats or donations or whatever. And she quickly became one of the more popular girls on the platform. I think that was because of the novelty of it, and smart kudos to the guy or gal who programmed her. But that's the only way. But no, you're not. No ugly. No, you really got to be Model S quality to go make your money on the internet as a man. And usually you do it as like the Tate brothers do, where you show a lifestyle. You're not showing your biddies. All right. So yes, I mean, we're already there. I think augmented reality, you're going to have more and more men, both men and women are leaving the marketplace. So it kind of feeds on each other in negative spiral where men are like, well, there aren't any good looking girls, and what girls are here are ugly and they're mean, and I'm leaving. Girls say, well, I can't find any guys, so I'm leaving. And then they go on the internet and they hate each other. And then, Eduardo in Bogota, he tells me he loves me. Or the UK gals, the old UK gals that threw away their men, and then they go to like Morocco or Algeria or North Africa, and they meet Habib. That's not very sexy. What's a sexy Middle Eastern name? Muhammad's overused. That's so overused. Ishmael. Is that a sex? Tell me whatever sexy Muslim name. Anyway, they go over there. Habib. We'll just go with Habib. So they go over there, and Habib takes all these women for the retirement money because these gals that are 53 actually think this handsome Mediterranean hunk with a touch of Roman genetics, he's got the blue eyes, like he actually loves her, and he's 24 years old. Like, yeah, right. They believe that, so they'll also believe Esteban in Bogota wants to dance the salsa with me. And yeah, he's, oh, but my darling, I would love to go, but times are tough here in Bogota. The communists have taken over, and he'll know that she's not smart enough to know that's Colombia and not Venezuela. But yeah, it'll just be substituting a digital substitute for humanity and for the real one. And as the quality and caliber of both men and women and human friends too, like, you know, how hard it is to get anyone to go for a hike. As the quality of humans go down, there will be less and less incentive to participate in person in reality. And Thinking Ape made the point that, well, this virtual reality, even if it's video games and not real, is a better one than the real one you live in. The classical cipher wants to be plugged back into the matrix. And I actually can't fault people that. I can't fault for people wanting to live vicariously or even delusionally or entirely online. I get it, man. Because what the hell do you get up for in the morning? And it's a chore every day to wake up and like, okay, what am I going to do? And that's why I got my to-do list. I go work out and I'll go for a hike. I'll ride my motorcycle. A lot of times if you don't feel like it. Because the other option is to get lost in video games, or I guess social media, which is fine. You know, I like video games every once in a while, but, you know, I kind of want to be, and in fair honesty, fully admitting, pot calling the kettle black, my activities I do in the real world involve no people. Like 9 months, I've been pretty much by myself. Great one is here. He's a roommate and all that, so that's fine. We hang out a little bit, but he's got his thing. I got my thing. You know, even when I lived in the Twin Cities, I had all these friends around me. Boy, you had to pull teeth to get him to hang out. Even DT, you know, he doesn't live that far away. You can't get him. You couldn't get him to go out in the Twin Cities. Certainly can't get him to go out now. So yeah, it's most people, you know, and it's like any other and all it is, and maybe this is a very poignant observation I'm about to make. People have found a better platform to be on than the real world. And there's an economies to scale. You know, people are like, oh, we got to have a rival to YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. It's like, well, good luck with that, because one platform is all you need for that type of social media interaction. You know, you only need one Twitter. You only need one video platform. You only need one Facebook type of platform. And more and more people go on it. Well, the platform in reality sucks. Everyone's fat. Everyone's ugly. Nobody likes each other. Women certainly don't like men, or they make that their official statement. They get fat. Men's sex drive dies off. Why would you go to war for that? They go find prawn. They themselves get fat. No girls are into it. We reinforce each other's bad behavior. Your politics, your religion is now replaced with digital politics. I so care about the minorities, or fill in blank here. And now you're, I mean, think about that word, social justice warrior. It has nothing to do about social justice. It's to feed and masturbate the ego of the weak, pathetic person who takes on that title. I'm a warrior. No, you're a loser who just clicks and hates on productive people and think life is unfair because you're supposed to get a job. So yeah, people are leaving that. People are leaving the real world because that platform is no longer deemed worthwhile. And as more and more people go to the digital world, that's going to attract more and more people because that's where people are. I mean, and it kind of shows, like, I have a potential client. This girl sent me a question like, how does a very intelligent woman find a marriage quality guy? I don't know if my emails went to spam or if she just, I gave her a price quote. She doesn't want to pay for it. But she's like, oh, should I be on dating platform? Like, yeah, women should. Yeah, if you're a gal, go on the dating platform. You don't have to go out. But men have to go out. Like, it's different. But yeah, women should definitely be on dating platforms. Because men and women are different. Oh, nosy. So there we go. All right, let's go to, holy shit, $200? You do know I'm not a hot chick, right? I know who donated, just says 200, but you do know I'm not a hot chick. I do not have tail bitties. I mean no longer love time, Dr. Jones. Nonstop trade, $2. Imagine VR dating. Cappy can finally be 6 feet tall. Yeah. Yeah, man, it could be whatever that you look, everybody, like, all right, I'll go watch The Last Airbender. You guys all watch Surrogate. It's not a bad movie. Not bad at all. And then just for fun, watch Demolition Man. Wesley Snipes and Sly Stallone. How can you go wrong? It's a great flick. Knitting. I learned knitting. Thanks for the 200. That MGS Junkie 200. Holy cow, man. Thanks a lot. New guy, too. I've never heard. I just rewatched Demolition Man again with a red pill lens. It looks like we're headed in that direction. Yeah. Now, wasn't that also a remake of Brave New World? Hang on. Let me look that up because it should be noted. It's got Dennis Leary in it, too. I mean, come on. How do you fail? Brave New World? Let me see if that is. Yeah, this article mostly pointing out the parallels between Aldous Huxley's sci-fi masterpiece, A Brave New World. And the 1993 action film Demolition Man. For those who haven't seen Demolition, there's honestly no better summation of the film than the fact that the titular Demolition Man is not the psychopathic terrorist villain entertainingly played by Wesley Snipes, but the hero cop protagonist stoically portrayed by Sly Stallone. Yeah, you guys should all see. Oh yeah, and then what's her name? Oh, she was cute. I had a crush on her. Sandra Bullock. Ooh, she was the girl next door. Ooh. Her and Jennifer Aniston made the 90s almost worth living. Almost worth. Oh, she was cute. Very cute. Anyway, thank you again, MGS Junkie. I appreciate it. That money will go to God, geez, what I have got. The house is done. 2 days ago, I finished the floating shelves myself. You so don't need contractors. Shoot. I don't know what's going to go to. I already got storage in the garage. Oh, you know what? That's going to go to shop mats. So I got, in case the truck leaks oil, I got a mat, a good size mat, vehicular size mat, and they're kind of pricey. So that'll be a good down payment on some. Thank you very much. Cab Ragoon Cabulous, $5. You gave me a thought. Top tier men in sperm banks. Well, they already do that. You get a profile. Like he's a doctor, do height. Women go through it like a catalog, man. Absolutely. They're chosen by all the women. In a few generations, what's going to happen? You're darn right. They're all going to choose Vlad Elkins. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be a bunch of half-siblings, all with Vlad Elkins. And they're all going to have to know. Everyone's going to have to get a DNA test. They are. They're going to have to go to 23andMe or Ancestry.com, get the DNA test and say, oh, I can't date you because that, dude, talk about a brave new world. It's coming. Because, like, you get top 10% guys, and they're throwing their seed all over the place. All of a sudden, you're going to have to, like, whoa, can we date even? Are you my half-sibling? Are you my quarter sibling? We can't do this. What is a quarter sibling? But at least you girls got alpha seed. I think we're all caught up. Are we all caught up? Yep, we're all caught up. All right, there you go. Questions, answers. AssholeConsulting.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.